All right. So I wanted to chat to you guys just to kind of catch up on the recent progress. Yeah, how's it been going?
What's that? Sorry, is it?
So Ben, you've been working on the metadata import.
Yep. Yeah, I've made a pull request for that earlier on today, and the last thing, which I haven't done a git push for yet, was a subset of Merriweather, and basically you can bring in the font info plist and export, and the font info plist comes out again. And if you do a XML lint pretty print, if you do a diff on the two, the DTD is the only line that's different. So everything in the plist is being imported and being re-exported again. Obviously, it doesn't really cater for anything when you're interpolating between two fonts, because basically at the moment it's just bringing in the font info for a master when you import it, and when you export the master, it's sending it out again. So I think in the pull request or one of the info things, I highlighted that doing something smart with italics and ascenders and descenders rather than just copying from one arbitrary master, because another font program might look at the UFO and say your information from the font info is actually wrong because you've interpolated to an italic with a bold or something. So if you're specifying a specific descender, that obviously is going to change. But yeah, the actual bringing a master in, importing some font and exporting it again, the font info plist comes in and goes out again. That was today's little adventure, which is sort of from number 4 on the milestone thing, basically almost sort of the last 4 points of part 4. I happen to have in front of me.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up that roadmap document now.
Okay. So probably the 2 other things to do on there, the 2 main other tasks were the mutator math stuff to test out things, which is now that I've actually played around with the CPS stuff and how to do interpolated stuff, have some more idea of how to actually get that part to work. And the zip export. Well, that would be handy for the 4th part, create font instances with our export method, to actually have a few more subset of font instances, because like a full Droid Sans or something takes 15 seconds to import at the moment, and there's about 7 or 8 glyphs that actually get dropped because it didn't really like bringing those in from OTF. But having a medium-ish sort of size pool of glyphs maybe in another font, because I think I've cut back the Merriweather to about 8 glyphs, just for testing whether the font info list came in and out. All of this is being followed.
Right. So this is done now.
Yep.
And the fallback isn't done yet.
I investigated this. What with the fallback? What are you referring to? Like if the font info plist has one mangled entry to load the rest and leave the mangled entry alone, or?
Yeah, I mean if like the data was corrupt in some way.
Because I was looking at basically it uses an XML parser at first, so whether or not what level of corruption you're going to try and recover from there.
I'm sorry, say again?
I'm just saying, what level of corruption in the?
I don't know. I think it's just.
At the moment, it basically just if it has an exception, like if it's missing the main root element, or it's not valid XML, then it just doesn't import anything.
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple of areas there, like the actual XML parser would need to not throw exceptions, but be sort of semi-robust against problems.
Okay.
And then above it, there's the actual stuff that's in UFO.js.
Okay, so It will say postponed until a real life problem. Yeah. Okay, and then the exporting is done as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this export only at the moment works if you're exporting a monolith. If you're trying to actually do an interpolated thing, you won't get that on info list.
Yeah. And and then this one was, to keep around all the other stuff.
This one was which, sorry?
So this fourth bullet point.
Yep. This one here, yeah.
Yeah.
No, at the moment I've only got one. I took the Merriweather regular, exported it as a UFO with FontForge, but then deleted like a whole bunch of the glyphs just to make it a little bit quicker on import-export.
Yeah.
I think it's got 10 glyphs in it, and I've added that. I haven't added that into the pull request yet, but I have added that and round-tripped it, and basically saw that Merriweather UFO generated from FontForge. If I import it into Metapolator and then export it again, the actual the font info plist file only changes in the DTD.
Yeah.
Like all the rest of it is exactly the same. So it's fairly good success, in my opinion.
Okay. So all right. So yeah. Okay. So let's say that's what that sounds like it's all working. Right. Okay. So then, yeah, I guess the interpolation thing. So you take a math. So you clear where to get that? That's from the AFD code and Adobe's.
I think it came up fairly easy on a web search. So
yeah. There we go.
working out how to use that would be one thing, and then the example that went up on the Google Plus page the other day of actually doing an interpolated instance in Metapolator will be handy for actually doing this second point when just generating the in between.
Okay, I guess this is where we kind of switch to Ruben, because this is then on the glyph interpolation stuff, right?
Right. This is. I've just started on this. I can tell you what I have done already, if you like, recently.
Yeah, sure.
Because so the last thing I completed was I sorted out red pill's responsiveness, so you can edit the CPS. You don't have to hit an update preview button anymore. It'll re-render in the background, and the rendering no longer blocks the editing. And then another thing that I think we have pretty much ready to go now is Lasse and I yesterday implemented an @import directive in CPS, so that you can basically include one file in another. I mean, much like you can in CSS, and that enables another simplification in the red pill, which is that you can have all the CPS that you're currently looking at just in one editor widget, and not have to select them from a list. And similarly, you can also reorder them, which is something you can't currently do, because of course in an editor you can just copy and paste, cut and paste bits of CPS around. So yes, I've only actually just started on working out how we're going to do interpolation. I think it's just, I mean, the simplest version is just a question of generating a version of the CPS interpolate file that Lasse already created, that has the right number of fonts and the right proportions according to whatever it is you put in.
Right.
I've only spent a couple of hours on that so far.
Yeah. I mean, it seems that with the interpolation engine in place, and yeah, as you say, the command line would be basically something that a piece of code which writes some CPS in a programmatic way based on the input. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So yeah, I guess for Ben then the interpolation thing is just going to be the first part, to get the mutator math interpolation working, and then when Ruben's finished with the glyph interpolation, then we can do the comparison.
On this topic, is there actually going to be a new abstraction in Metapolator for this? Like, you've got Project Master, or is there going to be a class for the interpolated fonts?
I don't know, Ruben, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't know whether I can make my microphone any better or not.
No, maybe I can improve things, actually, just a moment.
When you have the interpolated version, whether there's going to be something like a Project Master class for the interpolated instances?
A Project Master class?
Yeah, like so you could actually in the code, if you wanted to say.
No, it's just another master. So that's kind of the nice thing about the new CPS formula language is precisely that we don't actually need to do anything in the code. Have you seen the demo that Lasse did for?
Yeah. I've played around with the CPS files and made weird interpolated fonts and sort of deleted bits of CPS and tried to break it and work out reverse engineer what it's doing by breaking it.
Right.
But I was just looking at from the coding point of view, like if there was any concrete handle on saying this is a 50% between normal and bold. This is the instance, whether or not it's going to be
that's something. Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about. I think, therefore, the kind of like the first version is just an interpolate command, so that the handle on it, if you like, is just that you have a metapolator command, right? And that's not that useful from a sort of internal programming point of view, because essentially you have to recursively call Metapolator to get the bit of CPS that does your particular interpolation, right? And so I got to discuss this. I didn't really get time to do more than just mention the idea to Lasse yesterday when we were working on @import. But basically, the idea is to include some way of, I suppose you could almost say doing CPS templating, but basically including bits of JavaScript in CPS, so that rather than do the programmatic generation, as it were, from the outside, you do it from the inside, and at that point you do have the sort of handle that I'm guessing you want, because then you've effectively got CPS functions or anything you can actually do in JavaScript. So then you can have a piece of, rather than have a command which spits out some CPS that's tailored for your interpolation, you just have like a sort of interpolation function that has parameters, and just like almost just like a normal piece of JavaScript code, but it's JavaScript, a little bit of JavaScript, but wrapping or wrapped in, however you look at it, CPS. And that should make it easier to do the sorts of things that you want to do, and also, I guess, some of the sorts of things you want to do when you're actually making, say, the Blue Pill user interface.
I guess immediate use case for this was like the 0.5, so I could say I've got this 50% between normal and bold, and I actually just want to export that as a UFO. So actually, in prompt code, being able to say, give me this particular instance, and basically run an export like you would on a master, but on the instance instead. or whether instances were nameable like that, so you could just say, you know, I've got normal 50
Right.
or
So
something.
yes, because it's well, an instance is usually what you export, isn't it? I mean, so when you so in the interpolation demo, it just creates a new instance, and I guess at the moment you could, if you were running that in the Red Pill demo, you could at the same time on the command line just go in and export its data,
Okay,
if you'd written that to disk, as it were. And so yes, I don't, unless I misunderstood you, I don't think actually even what I was talking about just now is necessary, and you could already do that. If you just generated that instance, you could then just export it, because it's just like any other instance.
Oh, okay. I think I got a bit confused because the export command basically, and I think in its help string it says master rather than MP export master and then UFO. So
Oh, I see.
I'm sort of thinking
Yeah, it does.
it's maybe just a terminology thing, because I'm thinking the instances are like the interpolated non-masters, and the masters are actually, you know, the normal or the full bold or the full italic.
Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. Okay. So what it's creating as the result of interpolation is just a new master. Yeah, I've just got the demo running here, and so because so yeah, you can just export that. And similarly, of course, in the demo, the bold that it's interpolating from is also just generated.
Yep.
By CPS, of course. So yeah, so yes, so I think the answer is yes. You can already do that.
Yep. I suppose I just had a bit of a semantic mind lock where I thought, you know, a bold was actually a new master, but as you say, the bold was actually just generated from the normal in the demo anyway.
It's just generated, but from Metapolator's point of view, it's another master. Yeah, that's.
I guess it doesn't matter from a Metapolator's point of view whether it's a master or whether it's a 50% or a 70-30 split. It can still just be seen as being yet another master.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
So I think the answer is that in fact nothing needs to be done in order to do that. You can already do that. That's fine.
Very quick.
Cool. All right, and then I guess Simon, what can you update us? You said you spoke in our last yesterday as well.
Yes, I mean, Lasse was working on, or is working on, some skeleton transformation things, like tagging the points properly, or scaling the angles. So I think he's working on that, and he wants to prepare Red Pill or bring it to a state where we font makers can use it easier, I think. So right now, but what I'm doing today is I want to test the latest version of Red Pill with Sean Sands, because I did almost all the glyphs for the entire font. So I really want to test it now, and I will see if it's really or how difficult it is in the end for us to work with it on real fonts. I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, great, nice. It's good to hear that you've done a lot more of the glyphs for Sean. And yeah, I guess you know, it's a holiday in Germany today, so Lasse's not
Yeah, he told me.
So
and also we I'm going to prepare, or at least want to structure the meeting we're going to have on Monday and Tuesday. So I think this is a very nice opportunity to also reflect on our status of the entire project and communicate this in like the three main topics. I would say that explaining the code base, like from the point of view from Red Pill, then the user interface architecture. So that would be Peter's part, and I can do like an introduction and overall concept, and idea of Metapolator, and explain it by showing fonts we are doing or we've tested with. And this will go also on the Metapolator Neue website until the schedule of the meeting on that Tuesday, which then is a short summary of that presentation.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess when you have something to show, you know, post it on the G+, and
yes,
we'll take a look.
Yeah, and also I've been going through with Peter through some points. I think he posted it already about the what happens if you change x height and other vertical matrices. And then I'm going through with Peter and Wei today through all the interface elements we have to design for Blue Pill. So we go through every single element, what's there.
Okay, great. All right. Well, yeah, I think that's everything to discuss. Does anyone have anything else? Any other topics?
I guess one thing that I had that might be interesting, I had looked at the Google Web fonts, like the source repository. I'm just wondering if anyone knows any of those that have like the paired points that Metapolator wants to have for import, because it seems like sometimes it's difficult to actually try to generate a UFO in FontForge and then import all of it from the UFO that's come from an OTF. But I'm just wondering whether there's actually any loss going from, like, when you export to OTF, whether some of the splines are modified so slightly so that it makes it harder to bring like the matching pairs on each side of the line, aren't there?
I'm not sure if there is one on the Google Font server, but I mean you can test Sean Sans from GitHub if you want.
Which one, sir?
That's Sean Sans.
Okay.
I can paste you the link.
It's in the Metapolator GitHub organization. So it gives you github.com/Metapolator/Sean.
And I will check in the latest version like this afternoon. So you have to check in the afternoon.
Sure. Just adding more to the stuff like the cut-down version of Merriweather that I have for the font info list. Just getting more UFO data that's actually in the main project as sample fonts that can be used for doing other things and making bolds and all of this sort of stuff. We're just testing these font info lists and various other I/O paths. Like the more examples that are available, I think, of fonts, the more sort of testing can be done.
Yes, of course.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for the time. I'm sorry we had a bit of a mess around getting to this call. Yeah, I guess we'll chat middle of next week.
Dave, do you know already or know the meeting when it's going to happen, on Monday or Tuesday?
I'll set up a time on the calendar.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Okay, guys.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye then. Bye, Ruben.